name is Miranda McKeon. I am an actress. I'm the founder of a card game called Fill Your Tank. I'm a graduate of USC. I am a full-time content creator in New York City, and I also happen to be a breast cancer survivor. I grew up in a small town called Ridgewood, New Jersey, and though I spent the bulk of my teenage years commuting back and forth to Toronto to film 3 seasons of a Netflix series called And with an E. This show's cult following is also what launched my career online. While I had quite a unique start to life because of the whole child actor situation, it was actually like a wholesome child actor situation, not the kind that you see in the whole Nickelodeon shebang. My biography actually isn't too extensive as I'm only 23 and I was 19 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I want to take you back to the start of the journey. It was 2021 and I had just wrapped my freshman year at USC. I was studying things like oceanography, entrepreneurship, regenerative agriculture, and had just started my adult life making many adult decisions like what ratio of fun foods to serious foods to get at the grocery store, and finding a schedule that balanced sleep with socialization. I'd come back to New Jersey for the summer. I'm feeling young, I'm feeling hot, I'm feeling independent, and ready to celebrate that feeling in the best way I know how, which is, of course, throwing a party while my parents are gone. So it's 10 p.m., the party is rolling, all my girlfriends are there. I've invited some of my guy friends from high school for research purposes, we'll call it. The reunion is easy. You guys know the kind. You're back from school for the summer, familiar faces, the kind of night that feels suspended in time. We all take a shot, and I go into the bathroom to do what any girl does, which is a boob scoop, right? We know what we're talking about. Pull the girls up. They don't get this way, they don't look this good just naturally, okay? So I reach into my top, and when I reach in to the right side underneath my bra, I feel what feels like a jelly bean-sized lump planted firmly underneath my skin. Immediately, my stomach sinks, and I think to myself, I have breast cancer. So I have a cry burning at the back of my throat. I'm not sure if it's that, if it's the Tito's vodka. I'm disoriented. I call my friend Megan in for help. Her medical qualifications are limited, right? She is not studying medicine yet, but she is thinking about maybe studying medicine. So we spend about an hour Googling terms like KI67, mammogram, carcinoma, and we conclude that I do not, in fact, have breast cancer. But the next day, when the smoke of it all has cleared, I call my mom up on the phone. I'm fortunate, we're very close, she's here tonight, and I say, I felt a lump, right? Like, that's something we do something about, correct? And she says, yeah. So I want you to all hear me loud and clear when I say, discovering my lump was by accident, but calling a doctor and advocating to get it checked out was very much on purpose, and that is what saved my life, and that is why I'm here today. A week and a half after that doctor's appointment, on June 14th, 2021, I was diagnosed with stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. It had already spread to 2 of my lymph nodes, and I have no family history of breast cancer. From that moment on, my life was split into 2. The one I had before cancer and the one I would have to build after. And I apologize. Actually, I don't apologize for the tears tonight, but it's always very hard and feels surreal to be up here speaking about something that really should never happen to any young person. But I hope those of you who saw the video or missed the video tonight can understand just how real this is. And it's not only breast cancer, it's all of the incidents we have in life. whether that's someone you love passing or getting injured and not being able to complete a marathon. Stuff happens and we don't think it's gonna happen to us. So I'm gonna gather myself and finish my speech, but I would love for all of you to know that I feel the fragility of this moment in the room, and I hope you all do too, and take that with you in not a scary way, in not a dark way, not a sad way, but in the most uplifting, presence-grabbing, beautiful moment to take with you through the rest of the night. Okay, that's surreal. I thought treatment would begin immediately because everyone seemed extremely shocked that I had breast cancer at 19, as was I. My tumor was growing aggressively, but at one of my first few appointments, my oncologist asked me if I had ever thought about freezing my eggs. I said, I'm supposed to be a tau cap epsilon with a board in my hand. No, like that was not on my radar, ma'am. But all of a sudden, this future, one that I had barely begun to imagine, seemed fragile. So I began the long and expensive process of freezing my eggs, and shortly after my egg retrieval, entered medically induced menopause, which I'm still in today. When I first heard the words, "you have cancer," I actually didn't think about dying. Contrary to popular belief, I thought about losing my hair. Now, as I mentioned, I went to USC, and if anyone has been out there, you know that these beautiful, intelligent women literally all look as if they could be personally sponsored by the Dyson Airwrap. So losing my hair was my absolute worst nightmare, truly worst nightmare. And the hardest part of all of it was that it was not in my control and none of it was my choice. So, as I underwent chemotherapy, I lost my hair, and I eventually shaved my head. Now, chemotherapy didn't just take my hair, it broke down the person that I thought I was. It showed me how deeply my mind, body, and spirit were connected as my mental health started to suffer after months of feeling ill, fatigued, and sick. And I finally have a bunch of my family in this room and a bunch of my friends in this room to personally thank them for reminding me who I am from that day and still to this day when I couldn't even look in the mirror and recognize myself. So thank you, thank you, thank you. After adriamycin, cytoxin, and Taxol chemotherapy, I underwent a double mastectomy, a full lymph node dissection, a revision surgery, another revision surgery, 25 rounds of radiation, and if that sounds like a lot, triple it, add tax, tip kindly, donate tonight, thank you. Through it all, I started sharing my story online, most notably a series called Let's Stick a Big Ass Needle in My Thigh and Talk About X. I still film it every single month. It's a huge thing on my Instagram page. And I answer questions that people are normally too afraid to ask. Like, do you lose your pubic hair during chemo? Yes. Can you still have sex while bald? Yes. Can you have kids? Probably yes. Okay? The more truth I told, the more people started showing up. Hundreds of thousands of women who have become this insane online community that I still have today, for the reminder that if I could walk through hell in heels, maybe they could do their grocery run and it could be not that bad today. Look, cancer just sucks, and at no point was I trying to become a spiritual guru or the next Mel Robbins or whatever you want to call it. But I did learn a few things on my way. So while I just told my story, I want to leave you tonight with an abbreviated description of this kind of guide to life that I have. I encourage you to take what you want from it, leave the rest, throw it in the trash, and it's actually a fun exercise. You should make one of your own. We're going to start with number one, which is looks. Nobody really cares what you look like. Crazy, because I spent 2 hours on hair and makeup today. Yeah, chemo showed me that all of that could fall away and I would actually still be me. What you see in the mirror does not define you, but how you feel about yourself, that really, really, really does. And that is what radiates out to people, and that's what people see. Number two, connection. Connection is everything. Your people, the ones who show up and carry you when you can't carry yourself. Depth of relationship is everything. And those are the principles upon which I found in my card game, Fill Your Tank. It is a reminder that asking the hard questions, really listening, and leaning into your relationships is how we survive, how we thrive, and how we realize that we are never truly alone. Number 3 is health. To have your health is to have everything. And I know for a group of young professionals, I still have gotten back to a place in my life where I feel normal and invincible, and unfortunately I'm drinking on the weekends. But to have your health is to have everything. Food is medicine, joy is medicine, movement is medicine. Take care of yourself, not to look a certain way, but because you deserve to feel good and your body deserves to keep carrying you forward. Understand, especially women in the room, that your body will never be perfect, but it will forever be yours, and that's enough to keep on moving. Number 4, generosity. Generosity is the antidote to anxiety. I was so nervous for the speech, and I was telling my friends, like, if I could boil down all of my anxious thoughts, it would actually just sound like this. Me, 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 me. And I think that's true for all of us, right? At some point you have to realize that thinking so much about yourself can actually be a little bit self-centered, narcissistic even, right? So I learned that you can't overthink your way out of overthinking, but you can turn your attention outwards. So doing something kind for someone else, sending a text, checking in on someone, giving a donation tonight. We are all in these early years of our careers when there is a divine opportunity to practice generosity. It is not something that we are born with. We are not born saying, I have enough, let me give it all to others. It's something that we work at. It's a muscle that we need to flex. So if you need to start small tonight and send a tiny Venmo just to the back bar for all of your free tequila sodas, that's amazing. But I hope we can all practice flexing that generosity muscle tonight. Number 5, we're almost done, is vulnerability. Vulnerability is a very underutilized superpower. It's not easy. It asks you to trade control for connection. But letting yourself be seen, be really, really seen is terrifying, but that is where the good stuff gets going. It is in the shaking, in the sharing, in the showing up anyways. I've shared everything from questions about loss to intimacy online, and what I've learned is every time we tell the truth about ourselves, we give others permission to do the same. Number 6 is death. We are all going to die. My favorite quote by Ram Dass says, we are all just walking each other home. I used to spiral or reoccurrence. I literally couldn't sleep at night, walking down all of the possible different paths that my life could go down if my cancer came back. And eventually I had to learn that I had to give those fears air. I had to actually say them. I had to walk through them. And as scary as that was, I realized that the fear was actually heavier than the truth, right? And that's not always about death. Maybe that's about deciding if the partner you're with is right for you. Maybe that's about your job and asking for a raise or whatever it may be in your life. The fear is actually normally heavier than the truth. Death is not the enemy, it's the reminder that life is fragile, temporary, and therefore is profoundly precious. Number 9, this is the last one, is the unknown. The truth is that none of us actually know what we're doing. I used to think like, oh, the older people know what they're doing, but they don't. It's crazy, they don't. None of us do, it's kind of fun, right? I don't know why I'm up here, or why someone thought that I should be the one up here. Truly, like I don't. But what I do know is that if you wait to feel ready, or you wait to feel like you should be the one, or that you're qualified, you will just always be waiting. And life is not a waiting room, right? So let's just get it going and speak up even when our voice shakes. That is exactly what PinkAid does. It steps boldly into the unknown places where fear and uncertainty lives. Because breast cancer does not happen in a vacuum. It happens to very, very normal people, like me, who are sisters and daughters and lovers and players and dancers and fun. It happens to real people like me. It happens to people who have rent due, who are not as privileged as a young person standing up here. It happens to people who have kids, who have jobs to keep. And PinkAid is truly doing incredible things. It steps in where cancer leaves the gaps. Whether it's helping a woman pay for groceries during chemo, funding fertility preservation, or making sure she has the dignity of a wig or a compression sleeve. PinkAid makes sure women do not have to face cancer alone. And that is why tonight matters. When you give to PinkAid, you're not just writing a check, you're rewriting a woman's story. You're giving them dignity, you're giving them hope, and you are telling them that you belong to a community that will not let you fall. So I want to thank you all for your attention tonight. I know it's hard in the chat GBTification of it all to lock in, to listen, to feel, and to go through these emotions that feel uncomfortable and vulnerable, and to recognize the humanity in someone when it's easy to just scroll and isolate ourselves. But I'm so glad that we all shared this together. And tonight I invite you to give with your whole heart to make sure that women like me do not have to fight this disease alone. Thank you.